Welcome to another Planet video from UNM.nu. This is my final pre-recorded video for the night. After this, I'm doing my bonus video, which I'll release tonight, which is July 22nd. But this video should be coming out on July 31st. This is a request from Trader Crusader, wanted me to watch InvestAnswers. Let me make sure I'm sharing sound. I'm almost certain I am not. So first I need to share my screen. I'm not going to watch the whole video. I'm have it on 2x speed. That's still 10 minutes. But let's see what this video talks about in terms of Bitcoin being a reserve asset. This ties into my two prior videos. Yesterday, I recorded the Bitcoin Standard by Saifedean Amos. The day before, I recovered a video on Trump, who's speaking at the Nashville Bitcoin 2024 conference and might tie Bitcoin to the US dollar, or at least increase the Bitcoin reserves. Mark Cuban is really bullish on Bitcoin. So is Silicon Valley. As we got our first really pro-Bitcoin president and Vice President Vance, who hopefully leads the way for the next 4 years. Can we hit $1 million Bitcoin because of that? I've really accelerated my time frame from 2030 to maybe just over the next 4 years during this presidency. Not a fortune teller, not financial advice, do your own research. I'll still be happy with $1 million Bitcoin by 2030. That's just another couple of years. But let's go and start watching this video. Don't want to waste any more of your time. I need to make sure I'm sharing sound. Stereo should be good to go. Let's watch.
Hey everybody, there's a lot of weird stuff going on in the world right now, and let's try to get on top of some of the crazy rumors going around and the thought experiments that result of that. And I always say, like it or not, I'm not political in any way, shape, or form. But Bitcoin and politics are inextricably linked, and you cannot change that. That's why sometimes we are forced to discuss these topics. So let's jump in. This is going to be called reserve asset, little price analysis. What if a big country like the US added some Bitcoin to the balance sheet? And there's so much scuttlebutt going on now, it's insane. We also have a lot of big twists. Jamie Dimon is no longer a Bitcoin critic, and he slammed it for like 8 years straight. It was insane. Market cap's 2.3 trillion, volume at 70 billion. So we'll talk about a lot of billions today as well. And Fear and Greed, down to 61. I did rocket high yesterday, but that's going to come back down to earth. So let's jump in. Of course, this is not financial advice. Shout out to everybody on Patreon. Thank you as well, TD Tesla and Sean Donnelly for being here. And yesterday, I did do a video about the UBS Global Wealth Report. The data comes from that report. But I did have a mistake in my slides, and I apologize for that. I was off by 1-0, 1 decimal point move. So I did say a mistake, so sorry. This is a correction. The actual Bitcoin holdings for BlackRock are 0.193% of their assets under management. Somehow on my spreadsheet, I had 1.08 trillion instead of 10.8 trillion. Screw up. That's how things happen. But again, it's correct. So let's talk about Bitcoin real quick. Bitcoin monthly returns only up 2% for July. Kind of come a bit down to earth right now. Maybe there's some gentle release of some Mt. Gox stuff happening. I'm not sure, but there is some crazy stuff happening behind the scenes. And we'll get into that in a minute, especially with some charts proving the case. But let's talk about the news first, because there's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes we need to be aware of. First of all, this is massive. Jamie Dimon flips on Bitcoin. He has changed his tune. Again, Trump reveals. JP Morgan CEO sudden Bitcoin and crypto flip amid huge price surge. We're going to come back to this at the very end of the show, so watch this space carefully. Also, BlackRock is still going hard. This is from Hey Apollo. BlackRock snagged another 1,708 Bitcoin yesterday alone. One firm, 4 times daily minor issuance, one day. Big. And Mark Cuban everybody has their opinion right now on exactly what's going on, but this is interesting. Mark Cuban says Silicon Valley's bet on Trump is a Bitcoin play. Now, I have no idea what his political affiliation is, left or right or in the middle or basketball, whatever. I don't know. But this is interesting. You know, the, again, inextricable link between politics and Bitcoin. Now he's placing a link between Silicon Valley and innovation, and entrepreneurs and venture capitalists, and Bitcoin as well. Who knows? There's a lot of connective tissue always, everywhere. One thing you have to learn about the world is everything is connected, and there's no such thing as coincidence. Also, another breaking news too, Bitcoin Treasury is now an opportunity for many. US corporations now hold an all-time high, $4.11 trillion in cash. That is insane. Literally, if these US corporations alone took their cash, they could buy 4x the market cap of Bitcoin pretty much. Just think about that. That's how much $4.11 trillion is melting away on a balance sheet. Anyway, this brings us to this whole concept of what should firms do, and what should treasuries do, and what should central banks or Fed do, etc. And this is what everybody is chatting about like crazy. Hence this video. This is from Dennis Porter, developing news. According to Dennis Porter's sources, President Trump will announce a US Bitcoin strategic reserve at Bitcoin 2024. This is next week in Nashville, and it's going to be big. I think it's next week in Nashville. I don't even know what day it is today, so every day is the same for me. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. This is crazy. Let's get into the tweet from Dennis Porter, and a great follow, by the way, on Twitter. Adding Bitcoin as a strategic reserve to the US Treasury is a no-brainer, and once the USA does it, the paradigm will shift, and the world will understand they must also have a Bitcoin position. Thank you, Kelly. Now, one of the main arguments in favor of Bitcoin as a reserve asset is, of course, the potential hedge against inflation. And unlike fiat currencies, which can be subject to inflationary pressures due to central bank money printing, which you know all about if you watch this channel, Bitcoin does have that fixed supply. So, you know, there are some treasuries that hold different fiat currencies, some treasuries hold gold. But what's interesting about Bitcoin is because of its decentralized nature and independence from any single government or institution, it makes it a unique asset that is not tied to the fortunes of any other country. And this can provide the US Treasury with a new level of diversification that is simply not possible with traditional reserve assets like foreign currencies or gold or whatever else. This is the game changer. And you know, if I was running a treasury or running a country, I'd do this in a heartbeat like years ago. But sometimes it's hard for governments to do that because they do have their infinite money printer. And embracing things like Bitcoin could hobble that unless you've got a lot of courage to push something else through. So that's where we are right now. And what I'm going to do is do some calculations as to what would the impact of this be. So shout out as well to Cal Exit the Matrix, who inspired me with this question this morning. What if the US were to do something like match Chinese gold reserves with a similar amount of Bitcoin instead of gold? So we broke down some numbers here. And again, bear in mind, everybody, there's a million ways to skin this problem. This is just one example of a treasury asset, which is gold. We'll get back to gold in a minute as well. But what would happen if they put the same ratio of that gold instead of Bitcoin? And how much would the governments need to buy? So US Bitcoin holdings, they have 215,000. Germany have 50,000, but they sold more in 3 weeks. That's a separate story. China has 190,000 Bitcoin. Now 215,000 Bitcoin is only 13.7 billion. That's about what the US sends to the Ukraine every week, maybe less, I'm not sure. But it's not a lot of money to the US as a country. US gold reserves, about 543.6 billion. Chinese gold reserves, 170 billion. Now, if you calculate the US Bitcoin to gold ratio, it's about 2.5%, and the China Bitcoin to gold ratio is about 7.1%. So that is kind of where we are. Let's plug these into our little model, first of all. And before we do that, let's talk about what China, the largest bank in the world, did say yesterday. World's largest bank, ICBC, says Bitcoin solves gold's problem of divisibility and being inconvenient to carry. Again, speaking of gold, China, USA, Bitcoin solves a lot of problems. So let's dig into the first scenario. If the US matches China's Bitcoin gold ratio,
I'm just going to keep playing the video. I think he's just summarizing what I talked about in my last 2 videos. This is InvestAnswers. I've been a longtime follower of him. I think he's awesome. So thank you again for the recommendation, Trader Crusader. But instead of me talking, let's just learn from him, and then I'm going to close down the videos. I think he's summarizing what I want to talk about probably way more eloquently in this video. So hopefully you're enjoying.
Yeah. To reach China's 7.1% Bitcoin to gold ratio, the US would need to increase Bitcoin holdings by about 605,896 Bitcoin, which means they'd have to buy about 390,000. And at the current price, if they could buy them at 63.7, that'd be 24.9. Actually, I haven't checked the Bitcoin price yet. It could be 64K now as I'm speaking live. Let's find out. Make sure the price is hanging up there somehow. Bear with me 1 second. Bitcoin price 63.6. That's gone up $200 since this was done. Anyway, that's the first scenario. The second scenario is they double the China Bitcoin gold ratio. So if you're going to do this, you might as well do it with a substantial percentage and get away from gold altogether, or even pair trade gold into Bitcoin. Gold bugs, eat your hearts out. Who knows? That could also be possible. Imagine what that would do to the price of gold. Anyway, if they would have to increase their Bitcoin holdings to about 1.211 million Bitcoin, buy another 996,000 Bitcoin at the current price of $63.5 billion. By the way, all the ETFs and ETPs around the world own now over 1.05 million Bitcoin. So buying this bag would be equivalent to what all the ETFs and ETPs currently hold today. Let's break down the pricing model of scenario 1. This is US to match China's 7.1% Bitcoin to gold ratio. And I have my 21 multiplier, which I used in 2021, coincidentally. And that was calculated by looking at the Tesla Bitcoin buy and the impact on price. Then the pre-halving multiplier 56, and then the post-halving multiplier 112. If that is the case, and the US spends $25 billion on Bitcoin, assuming the price stays equal, they will buy 399,000 Bitcoin approximately. And the future price with the 21 multiplier would go to 98,000. With the 56 multiplier, be 156. That's coincidence, actually. 156,000 out of 56 multiplier. That is just chance. And I did say there's no such thing as coincidences. Who knows? And 112 would take us to $250,000. But imagine they go a little deeper and they double that reserve with Bitcoin. It would be a real gutsy move. They'd have to buy 1 million Bitcoin. What would that do to the Bitcoin price? Well, you can see here again, same multipliers, 21, 56, and 112. Remember, the more demand, the thinner the air, the more scarce it is, the more price goes up. Therefore, if it is just a 21 multiplier from 2021, it'd be 153,000. The 56 multiplier would be 302,000. And 112 multiplier would be 540,000, halfway to $1 million. And that is interesting. But the other thing that you have to bear in mind is, if this was to happen, big if, everybody, tinfoil hat firmly attached, you know what would happen next is game theory. I did this video in October 2021. I talked about Bitcoin game theory and what it would mean for Bitcoin, the price. And the numbers are fundamentally very different from where they are today, which is fascinating. Once game theory kicks in, things will get bonkers really, really fast. And we have somebody who maybe knows something special. And I tweeted this yesterday, today's dose, 17 hours ago in fact, today's dose of hopium, his conviction in Bitcoin is unshakable. Gotta admire his huevos. I don't know why I wrote that at the time. Anyway, this is from Samson Mao. You may doubt Bitcoin will reach 1 million within the next year, but you'll see. Samson Mao. So Samson Mao also works with nation states and helps them adopt the Bitcoin standard as well. And maybe he knows something, or maybe he's done some calculations around this treasury asset, which would trigger this game theory, which would easily put the price of Bitcoin to $1 million.
I don't need to play the whole video, but it's a wonderful video. I'm glad I shared that with you. So if you've enjoyed, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment on YouTube, Twitter, my other social media accounts. I've been watching my YouTubers as much as I used to. I've been focused on Planet, and of course, I'm like the only one talking about Planet on YouTube. InvestAnswers, Crypto Jeb, Cryptos Are Us, Ben Cohen. There's a ton of guys who I do like following. So it's fun to watch somebody like InvestAnswers. I'm glad that Trader Crusader watches him, and I know that I guess Trader Crusader read the Bitcoin standard on my recommendation. I'm glad he did. It seems to have affected him. So hopefully you all get a chance to read the Bitcoin standard if you haven't done so already. I'm assuming you've enjoyed the book like I did, but if not, please comment why you didn't like the book, or comment why you did like the book. Comment on this video if you enjoyed what InvestAnswers had to say. But I thought this was a good video. It says I'm running out of time, so I better restart Zoom for my bonus video. But until that, well, so like this video is coming out the end of July. So the next video I'll be recording should be August 1st. Where will Planet be by then? Let's find out. Until then, God bless my friends and take care.